Hey friends, Steve here, just dropping in with another in-betweener as I get the next episode ready for you. I wanted to talk really briefly about identity. In my previous conversation with my friend Mike Wynand, he talked about his identity of being a reliable person. It's an identity that I shared for myself for a long time too. If you give us something to do, we'll get it done. Identity can have some really positive effects. It can give you purpose and meaning. It can also provide a framework for making decisions, which is really nice. But it's tricky. There are downsides to every identity too. If you identify as a hard worker, you probably have a hard time relaxing. As Mike and I talked about, one of the downsides to identifying as a reliable person is that you get a lot of anxiety about dropping things, even if those things aren't that important. The thing that I especially want to call out about identity is that it doesn't have to be permanent. An identity that you've assigned to yourself and that you're using as a framework for making decisions, it probably came from a place, but it does not have to stay with you forever. And in fact, there is incredible release in letting go of any identity that isn't serving you. I can pinpoint the exact events that helped me realize that this reliable person identity wasn't serving me and that it was time to kick it to the curb. First of all, a few years ago, I was working really hard to become a speaker at tech conferences. I was applying to tons of conferences and I started getting into more and more of them. I, at one point, got accepted to speak at a JavaScript conference in Philadelphia and I accepted. But then my wife and I had a talk and she helped me recognize that I was overcommitting. I had multiple events already scheduled that month and it was going to be too much time away from the family. I didn't want to back out. I had never backed out of a conference. Like I said, I was a reliable person, so since I said that I was going to do it, I was going to do it. But it was obvious that I needed to back out. I drafted the email to the organizers, but I couldn't send it until I did some simple math in my head. By saying yes to the event, I was prioritizing the happiness of the conference organizers over the happiness of myself and my own family. Backing out was in conflict with my identity as a reliable person, but it indicated that I was prioritizing the happiness of me and my family over the happiness of some strangers that I'd never met. Once I realized that, it was a no-brainer to hit send. The second event came the following year. For a few years, I helped organize a tech conference in Milwaukee named Cream City Code. The conference ended in 2019 after a very stressful year for the organizers. And I say the organizers in the third person because halfway through the planning of that year, I had to stop. The stress was too much for me. I hated letting my friends down. I hated sticking them with even more work by stepping down. And probably above all, I hated admitting that I wasn't reliable. But I had to do it. Once again, I did the math. I was losing sleep at night over the event. I was always in a follow mood thinking about it. Choosing to follow through with the planning was prioritizing everyone else's happiness over my own. As difficult as it was, it made way more sense to prioritize my own happiness. And that second event is really where I started to realize that not only did I not have to be a reliable person anymore, I didn't really want to be. I'm sure part of the story is also that I got better at not overcommitting, but I also have a lot less stress now when I don't get something done. All this to say, if there's an identity that you're holding onto that isn't serving you, then you can, and honestly maybe you should, let it go. If you're looking for someone to tell you that it's okay to let it go, I got you. I'm going to link in the notes a couple episodes of a podcast that I've really been digging lately called The Art of Accomplishment. These particular episodes explore identity more in depth. I especially like how the hosts frame identity as the stories that you tell yourself about yourself. All right, take care, friends, and I'll see you soon with another full episode.